Emerald Park is the largest amusement park in Ireland. It originally opened as Tayto Park before receiving a massive rebrand to its current name. This is still a relatively new theme park in the grand scheme of things, but it has grown extensively over the past decade. In this review, I will discuss if this park is worth visiting if you're on a theme park trip in Europe or on a vacation in the Emerald Isle. Tayto Snacks is a popular potato chip manufacturer originally based out of Ireland. The country lacked a true theme park, so Tayto's owners decided to build a new entertainment park just north of Dublin. This led to Tayto Park opening in 2010. It originally started more as a zoo and playground, but over the next 5 years, they started adding amusement rides. This includes some smaller flat rides and one coaster. Now most parks start with something small, but Tayto Park went big with Cú Chulainn. This was a large wood coaster that opened as the country's tallest, fastest, and longest coaster by a wide margin. This coaster was very well received, so the park continued to invest mightily in amusement rides over the next decade. The park now features nearly 24 rides, including 6 different roller coasters, and their most recent additions have been paired with some quality theming. The park did lose their branding after the 2022 season though. A key change with Tayto is that they were sold to German food company Intersnack. This ended the Irish ownership. The theme park would still operate, but they needed a new name. They selected Emerald Park, leaning heavily into the country's history and identity, and this is what the park has been known as ever since 2023. My lone visit took place in 2024. I was on a theme park tour in England, but I saw an opportunity to hit Emerald Park because it was in a neighboring country. Many of the UK's airports have cheap flights to and from Dublin, and since the flight is just an hour, you can feasibly make this a day trip. The most economical way to access the park is via public transit. There are buses traveling from both the airport and downtown area. It takes an hour from the airport and 1.5 hours from downtown, which is double the time it takes if you're driving from each location. If you don't want to rent a car, you can call a cab or book an Uber, but be warned, these are noticeably more expensive than what I've encountered in other countries. The half-hour ride from the airport would have cost roughly £50 each way. If you drive, you will find a large free parking lot, and looming right beside it is Cú Chulainn. The massive wood structure captures your attention, and it gets you hyped up for your day. The main entrance is just a short walk from the parking lot. It is this indoor area with the ticket booths. Even if you purchased your ticket online, you still need to stop here because everyone gets a wristband. This determines which rides you have access to. Access to everything costs £43 to £52. Access to the junior rides, zoo area, and playground costs £39 to £47. You get the cheaper rate if you buy your ticket in advance. I think the rates are fair given what the park has, especially considering how the Dublin area is relatively expensive. Once inside, you have 4 main areas. Directly in front of you is the all-access area. This has a majority of the park's larger rides. The front area feels a bit like a carnival, but the rides are colorful. And then the rides towards the back of this area came later, and they have some nice bits of theming. Off to the far right is Tír na nÓg, the park's new for 2024 land. I mentioned how the park's newer attractions have significantly improved theming, but this is the first time the park built one giant area with a cohesive theme throughout, and I hope this is their standard going forward. In the back of the park is the zoo area. This is green and forested with plenty of animal exhibits. There are over 40 species represented and nearly 250 animals in total. Off to the far left is the junior zone. This has the park's smaller rides, so this is where most kids want to spend the day. And several rides are dressed up quite nicely. Now I think this is helped by the newness, but the whole park felt clean and modern. There were just 2 awkward things walking around. One, the midway to access Tír na nÓg is just this long bare stretch of pavement with wooden fencing alongside you, and nothing to see. I really hope they can add something over here in the future to spruce things up. It just felt so empty. 2. There are a few large attractions that are standing, but likely never going to operate again. There's this giant rock wall behind the main entrance. Affixed to that is this crazy looking slide. I really am bummed this was unavailable. You probably would get some good speed going down. Then just past Dino Dash in the show is an abandoned zipline coaster. All three of these attractions are huge. They are taller than most mechanical rides of this park, so their closures really stand out. If they are never going to reopen, I hope the park at least tears them down in the future. The staff members I interacted with were friendly and efficient. They were loading their respective rides as fast as possible. There were several rides with poor throughputs, but that was due to their inherently low capacity, not the fault of the staff members on duty. On most rides, staff members would honor seating requests, if you had one, but Nafina Force was operating with assigned seating for much of the day, so it seems to be operator dependent. Now let's run through the attraction lineup. This park has 6 different roller coasters. There are 4 family coasters and 2 major coasters. The latter form an impressive top 2, and I have separate reviews for both of these if you want more in-depth thoughts. Cú Chulainn is Ireland's only wood coaster. Built by the Gravity Group, this is an airtime-centric coaster. There are a dozen hills that'll pop you out of your seat. The first drop and following speed hill have excellent floater airtime. Then the remaining hills have mostly weak to okay floater. But the quantity of negative Gs combined with the brisk pacing is a great combination. I had heard this coaster was getting rough, but I found it very tolerable. The trains jittered on the turns, but they were very well padded, so I had no pain. Nafina Force is a dynamic suspended thrill coaster from Vekoma, and the anchor of Tír na nÓg. It dabbles in a bit of everything. There are some spots of high positive Gs, some whippy inversions and turns, and a handful of airtime moments, particularly the bunny hills in the second half. And I love how the train fluidly moves from one element to the next. Add in the exciting visuals of Quest cycling beneath you, and it is a wonderful experience. Running through the family coasters, let's start with Quest. This is a Vekoma family boomerang. The visuals are the ride's strong suit, as you narrowly avoid Nafina Force, and the far spike is enclosed in a castle turret. This coaster is light in the forces, but it has solid speed, and the backwards motion in the second half adds some flair. Flight School's Azir Force coaster is a clone of Flying Eagle at Legoland Billund or Runaway Tram at Morey's Piers. This coaster has some decently forceful turns, and you get 2 laps with each ride, and is plussed by some nice airport theming in the queue. Dino Dash is a Vekoma Junior coaster, so it's understandably on the tamer side. The coaster is most notable for its jungle-like setting as you weave past some trees and dinosaur statues. The final coaster is Lady Bird Loop, which is a well-themed SBF Visa spinner. You spin at a pretty good clip, which is quite disorienting as you whiz past oversized mushrooms and tree trunks. This is part of the Junior Zone, which has roughly a dozen rides. They are mostly small flats, but there are 2 rides I want to highlight. One is Honeypot Bears. This is a small Tubs of Fun. It looks cute and innocent, but you can spin the vehicles feverishly fast if you're a spinning savant. 2 is Nissan Driving School. This allows kids to get behind the wheel and drive through some mock streets. It is similar to the highly popular attractions of the Legoland parks. This park does not have many adult flat rides, and it's definitely an area for improvement in the future. This would really help deflect some lines away from the coasters. There are 4 current ones that'll cater to the thrill seekers. Air Race is a Zamperla flat ride where your plane inverts repeatedly. There is a nice mix of slower flips offering hang time. Endeavour is a newer generation enterprise from Zamperla. This offers good sustained Gs because of how quickly you rotate. Power Surge is yet another flat ride from Zamperla. This is a chaotic ride with all the axes of motion. I was consistently getting a slow flip over the top, followed by an aggressive rocking motion. Then there is Rotator. This is a large SBF Visa frisbee-like spin cycle at Silverwood. This ride is fully capable of inverting a full 360 degrees, but it now runs a non-inverting cycle due to guest demand. That being said, the deliberately slow motion of the pendulum is very disorienting, and you still get plentiful hang time at weird angles. The final major ride to highlight is Viking Voyage. This is an incredible log flume, one of the best in Europe. Built by Interpark, the ride is tucked among the trees and travels through a large rock structure with an oversized Viking helmet. And this is paired with a lovely soundtrack. Not only does this ride have atmosphere, but it also has 3 different drops. The first is an odd double down with laterals and a pop of airtime. The second is backwards. And the third is large and zippy. Just note, you will get quite wet on this ride. What else does this park have beyond the rides? There are several different play areas peppered throughout the park. Then the signature active attraction is the Skywalk High Ropes course. These are typically upcharges at other parks, but Emerald Park impressively includes it with admission. It looked pretty average for the genre, but they're really fun if you've never had an opportunity to try one. Then this park is the aforementioned zoo. I spent a majority of my visit on the amusement side, but I did a quick walk through here and saw some animals. The tiger was my favorite because it was actually walking around, instead of just lounging per usual. As I alluded to earlier, the rides at this park do not have the best throughputs though. Most coasters only operate 1 train. Their 2 largest coasters, which can run with 2 trains, commonly open with just 1. Then the park often adds the second train in the afternoon when crowds warrant it. Fortunately, both Coo Cullen and Nafina Force had both trains in service for the entirety of my visit, but from reports, that does not seem to be the norm from what I've gathered. As a result, you're going to encounter some lines here, especially in the busier periods when schools are out. One positive thing is that the larger rides have estimated waits outside their main entrance. If I remember correctly, there are wait time boards stationed throughout the park as well. The 3 longest lines by far were Viking Voyage, the Skywalk High Ropes course, and Dino Dash. All 3 queues exceeded an hour for much of the day, and that seems to be a trend from others who have visited. I believe the Nissan driving school attraction also gets super long lines, but I did not look too deeply into it because it's meant exclusively for kids. Flight School and Quest were 2 other coasters that had 30 to 45 minute waits for much of the day. Then the Ladybird Loop SPF spinner at a consistent half-hour queue from the afternoon onwards. Something that does not help these smaller coasters, outside of Quest, is that they offer multiple laps each ride. Reducing these down to 1 lap would help the throughput if lines continue to be an issue in the future. At least during my visit, Coo Cullen and Nafina Force maxed out as half-hour waits for me, because again they have higher throughputs. Then the flat rides seem to have more modest 10 to 15 minute waits max. So how should you tour this park? If you arrive at Rope Drop, I strongly recommend starting with Viking Voyage. Go here early, and you'll not only be able to walk onto it, but you may even be able to stay on board for a re-ride or 2 without leaving your seat. That's what I did, and as I noted, this is a special flume. I would then tackle the smaller coasters due to their lower capacities. I would prioritize Dino Dash first, because it's nearby, it had a super long queue. If Skywalk is a priority, do that next. Otherwise, knock out the other low-capacity coasters. I would recommend Flight School and Quest in that order. I recommend getting your laps on Coo Cullen and Nafina Force after you've knocked out the lower capacity rides. Not only do the lines on the major coasters move faster, but if they started with just 1 train, they likely will now be running 2, and they will have had some time to warm up as well. The afternoon is the best time to hit the zoo to break up the waits midday. Now an important consideration for the end of the day. Emerald Park closes queues early if they're long. This can happen 30 to 60 minutes before close for the popular rides. I saw that happen to Viking Voyage and Dino Dash, but the queues for the 2 major coasters were short enough at the end of the day that they remained open until close. I think a full day is perfect for this park. Even if you have high crowds, you can easily get all the coaster credits in a day. Then if you have a smart touring plan, you'll have plenty of time for re-rides in the afternoon. Now there are two areas I cannot speak in depth to. I chose to prioritize re-rides on the two main coasters over these things. 1. This park is a highly popular circus show, uncreatively called The Show. 2. I did not eat while inside the park. There were some smaller stands throughout the park and a signature restaurant in the lodge. I think the latter is your best bet if you're hungry. So, do I recommend Emerald Park? Yes, I do. If you are in Ireland, this is easily the country's best theme park. There are two very good coasters, a few nice supporting attractions, a zoo, and a nice atmosphere. If you're on a larger European coaster trip, this park is worth considering if you can find a cheap flight in and out of Dublin. I don't think you'll be disappointed by this park. I am content with my visit and will definitely head back once they add another sizable addition. And if they keep investing at their current rate, the park should only improve. The two biggest cons of the park are the throughputs and the lack of adult flat rides, and I think addressing the latter could solve both issues. It would provide a significantly better guest experience by offering a wider range of attractions and more capacity to the park. So those are my thoughts on Emerald Park, Ireland's premier theme park. What are your thoughts on this place? Have you been there? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.